If you don't know me by now, I just love to have barriers in my books represented by the line we are approaching below. The line I have in several of my stories, including this one, is the representation of the veil that separates the spiritual world from our physical one. There are barriers all over our world that mark the boundaries of life. Fences to separate property where we can enter through by a gate. We have walls to separate a home from the outside world. We can enter through a door. The line of the veil that separates the spiritual world from our physical one, that can be entered through a circle cast ritual. As we step through the boundaries of the line between the living and spiritual world, let us do so in perfect love and perfect trust. Hold my hand, dear. Close your eyes, listen to my sweet, soft voice as we cross the line to the other side of love and laughter, to a place that is not a place, a time that is not a time. We enter under light hypnosis in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now. Welcome to the other side, my dear. You can open your eyes now, we made it. Whenever I cross over the line, it can be disorienting and make one a little dizzy. But what we entered is a special temporary spiritual realm that is part of Earth and yet completely different from her too. It is sacred ground where you are safe, loved, and cherished as we explore the deepest parts of what makes us human. It is a place of peace, so we can gather our thoughts, a place to rest, celebrate life, Sabbaths, esbats, and face our deepest fears if we need to heal. It is also a place where we can concentrate on our magical workings without distractions. It is our home away from home. Welcome to the world of love and solitude, my love, but we can't stay here forever, since we need to return to the living when we are done. You know you are insane, right? The Vale is a beautiful, peaceful place to visit, but to get here we have to pass through the turbulent storms of life that is like a hurricane swirling destructive winds around the eye of the storm of the Vale, where the winds are calm and the weather is perfect. Thanks for coming into my world for a spell. Most people don't understand the concept of circle casting. But for a witch, we use it to create a temporary safe church while the storm of destruction and sadness stays outside our protected eye of the storm. I wish I could use this occasion for you to enjoy the peace around you and within you, but we have so much to talk about, my love, and I have so much to share with you. The good news is now that we are in our private, sacred, temporary church. What we say in the circle stays in the circle. It's kind of like the saying in Las Vegas, haha, where secrets are safe in a very strange world of those mortals. You know I'm joking, right? This is going to be a long chapter, my dear, but I can't break it into two chapters while we are in a sacred circle. But I'll try to make this chapter fun because I'm about to tell you the deepest, darkest secrets of my life that is totally bizarre that will be hard for you to believe. Are you ready, my love? Let's begin. My story begins with my first memories of life when I was 3 months old. I was an old soul cussing myself out for being stupid enough to come back to Earth, but these dear mortals really needed a witch to help them out. I suppose that's why I came back to your world for the final time, my dear. The funny thing about this whole thing is that I don't even believe in reincarnation, but it feels like I've been here at least 100 times, which means I failed 100 times coming here. Talk about a perfect record, I say sarcastically while giggling. If I fail, or if I fail again though, I'm not coming back to your Earth, since this will be my last time here of my own free will. How's that for encouragement? I do like to be an optimist, lol. Getting back to my story, I knew I was an old soul that has been on Earth for thousands of years from my previous lives. Glad this conversation is not going to be controversial to the Christian community. Sheesh, because the first memory I had of my father was when he scooped me up in his arms as I was cussing at him to get that poison out of his mouth. He was smoking a cigarette in my face, so I told him in my native language to stop smoking that poison. But he didn't understand my gibberish, since I sounded like a 3-month-old baby babbling nonsense, haha. So, in desperation, I changed my tactic and sarcastically coughed at him to relay my disapproval of what he was doing. His response? He smiled at me and blew as much cigarette smoke in my face as he could. Yep, I made a bad mistake coming back to this world because I have a lot of work to help these poor mortals take care of themselves. If you don't know this by now from my other stories, I have an older sister I love so dearly that is a witch. I never asked my older sister how she became a witch, but when I was 5 years old and she was 13, we practiced meditation, moving coins and snuffing out lit fire candles with our mind, as well as practicing the pseudo law of attraction technique, so popular with some people from the New Age movement. This is a true story. I am writing to you, my dear. So, of course, we couldn't blow out candles, move coins, or drink chocolate milk that magically popped out of thin air, haha. But we were able to have effects on lights and TVs whenever we were highly emotional or angry. I love my oldest sister very much and so grateful of the times we had to share at midnight while everyone else was sleeping so soundly. It was so much fun practicing magic and being part of the energies of the earth that is flowing around us and within us too. My sister did have a weakness in her magic, though. It was of an intense fear whenever she felt like her spirit was leaving her body. I didn't remember what astral projection was from my previous lives, but I tried to reassure her that she was okay and was practicing something that was natural to our kind of people from the ancient
Past.
The funny thing about our situation is that we couldn't consult with our parents about our magic because our dad was Catholic and our mother was a Protestant Christian. They were not witches, and neither were my second oldest sister or younger brother. They were all Christians. It was just me and my oldest sister that were the undercover weirdos in the family, haha. Later on my life, I had my first death experience at age 5 when I had to be rushed to the dentist office to have an extremely abscessed baby tooth removed from my mouth and died from overexposure to nitrous oxide and not enough oxygen. I was never afraid of dying when my mother assured me not to be afraid of the dentist. I told her I just wanted the pain to go away, and if he doesn't take the tooth out, I'll do it myself. I was given the anesthesia and was knocked out instantly. When I came back to consciousness, though, I was having trouble with my bearings and opened my eyes to see if it was over. Well, to my surprise, I was floating 6 feet above my body, and then they came. 12 demons that were trying to catch me to send me to hell where Christians believe I belong. Ah, I suppose you must be thinking, wow, Sarah, you must have been a very bad girl for demons trying to drag you to hell at 5 years old, but it was nothing like that. It was something that was completely different, my love, since anything or anyone that is a stranger to a 5-year-old is considered a demon. It's just a natural part of our instincts that tells us to stranger danger, beware of the things we don't understand that are coming towards us. The only problem with natural instincts is that it can cause us to be in a state of hysteria that can produce delusions of what we think we are seeing during our state of panic. This state of panic is kind of like a Christian in 1692 when a Puritan sees a witch outside performing a ritual which they were conditioned their entire life to believe it is unnatural and demonic. So, she must be communicating with Satan, and they run away in a blind rage of panic. Yes, haha, I had to go there. I just wish Christians could control their hysteria a little better because they can begin to think everything is a demon like I did when I was 5 years old. But I grew up and sadly they didn't. Anyway, as these demons approached me, I tried my best to run away from them, but they caught me and placed me back into my body where I stayed unconscious for another 2 hours until I heard the dentist tell my mother they should take me home since some children are extra sensitive to anesthetics and they're sensitive to lawsuits, so they needed me off their premises in case I croaked. So they could blame my parents for not taking me to the hospital yard instead. I know they didn't say anything like that in their consultation to my parents because I heard what they said. I'm just being a little cynical of what they really wanted to tell my parents if they were truthful. By the way, those things I thought were demons weren't demons after all, lol, because I met them again 16 years later when I died a second time and saw what beautiful angels they truly were. As a child, I was scared of being in the supernatural world, but as a young adult, I thankfully developed some spiritual maturity to look at the unknown before going into a blind panic. These beautiful angels of six feminine and six masculine entities identified themselves as the 12 tribes of humanity, whatever that meant, but it didn't really matter to me since they had such an unbelievable love and joy emanating from them. They restored my soul and inspired me so much I based the loving teen witch characters of Astrea, Isis, and Aphrodite for my Book of Life trilogy in their honor. Well, my dear, after my little death experience, I really became able to see all kinds of spiritual people and creatures that are all around our world, and it's amazing to have friends on the other side, lol. Since it was so natural and ordinary to be with the dead, I thought everyone had dead friends and family that they could be with too. That is, until I went to elementary school for the first time and asked my classmates how their dead friends are doing today. As you can imagine, I instantly became a weirdo, so I quickly had to learn to be careful around those strange blind muggles that can't see the occult world that is around them like I could. So I mostly stayed to myself to play with the forces of nature and danced with the trees in bliss. Throughout my life, my little ghost friends kept visiting me from age 5 until now. To be so young and naive, having so many ghost friends visiting me was so wonderful but bizarre. I can see how Christians might think these things are demonic spirits because it is scary for a child and a person in hysteria to assume a demon is attacking them. When all that time it was just Casper, the friendly ghost that just wanted to have friends to play with. Yes, I know I'm stretching it a little bit, haha. In all reality, though, the more I had contact with these spirits, the more I realized they were not trying to scare me. They just wanted to show me what happened to them, and were so happy someone like me can see them. These entities are earthbound spirits that chose to stay close to the living earth because they were not ready to move on or were afraid to move into the light because the ghosts that did never came back, so they assumed that was the second death that they needed to avoid. I'm so glad what I'm sharing is not controversial at all in a Christian sense, lol, but in all honesty, I want to tell you one thing I hope you'll remember, my love. If you happen to die and stay close to Earth, don't stay here for too long. I'm a witch that knows all about the spiritual Earth realm, and it is depressing to be there if you are a ghost. Find your loved ones, see them one last time. Don't be disappointed if they can't see you and go to the light where family, home, love, and the divine is waiting for you on the other side. I've been to heaven/Summerland when I died, and the love of the royal subjects and family that loved me so dearly inspired me to write a trilogy of books titled The Book of Life series. Well, I'm not teaching you Witchcraft 101, lol. This is the advanced, crazy life of a witch that went beyond what was normal, rational, and bearable for a person to see while in a perpetual state between the physical and spiritual world of Earth during her lifetime. Remember, my love, this is a 100% true story I'm sharing with you in our spiritual circle, and the stories are just going to get more bizarre as we go along. Just thought you'd like to know. Anyway, let's continue. When I was around 7 years old, I had a strange encounter with a teen boy that always visited me a little after midnight. He didn't come around all the time, he just occasionally visited me when he noticed I could see him. As I stated before, I never was able to have conversations with any apparitions when I'm awake. For some reason, verbal communication is not possible with my deceased friends, which is so sad and frustrating for me, but we could communicate by pointing or making gestures, or having them show me what happened to them when they died. Every time he greeted me, it was at 12:05 a.m. or 5 minutes past, the witching hour. God help me, haha. In all seriousness, though, I'm assuming that is when he died because each time I would feel his presence, I would look back to see he was standing high on something. When he tied a rope around his neck and jumped to his death. This bothered me so much, and unfortunately, I was unable to talk to my oldest sister about it, so I asked my mom, "Was there ever a boy that killed himself around here?" She replied, "Yes, sweetie. a 13-year boy did hang himself inside a barn that is 6 houses away from us. Why did you ask that question? I just want to note that my mother was not a witch, just a very cool Christian I love very much. Anywho, lol, I see dead people. But I don't consider myself a medium because I can't have conversations with them other than small gestures and metaphors of what they are trying to communicate to me about. The only conversations I can have is when I'm dreaming and invite them to talk to me in my sleep. As we continue on this chapter in our sacred circle, I am wondering how far are you willing to go down the rabbit hole with me before your sanity is forfeited? How long can you hold your breath before you die? My record is 1 billion years. It happened on a twilight evening when I was 17 years old as the sun was setting while playing basketball in the back court of our home by myself. As I was dribbling and shooting hoops, I felt a presence of a neighbor staring at me from the other side of the fence, and to my relief discovered it was Mr. Washington, who is a kind elderly man I absolutely adored and respected. Unfortunately, he died 3 months ago on the fateful day he visited me, but when you're a 17-year-old, which that didn't matter to me, hee hee. I was just so happy to see him. During the last months of his life, though, he was so frail and was suffering to be here, but seeing him now was amazing. He looked so strong and healthy. He was dressed in a white t-shirt, khaki shorts, and was still wearing his thick glasses, which is somehow important in this story I'm sharing with you. I smiled at him and asked him, Mr. W, why are you still wearing your glasses, sir? I know you have 20 to 10 vision now, ha. Oh, Star, it was so strange. I don't know if he could hear me because verbal communication was still impossible for me to talk to my beloved deceased humans, but he did smile at me. However, his smile changed into an intense look on his face as we began to stare intently at each other for a few seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, millenniums. And as 1 billion years had passed between us, I noticed that the sun began to move again because the brightness glared from his glasses as it was setting, which helped to break our suspended, concentrated stare of each other. That is when I realized I hadn't breathed in over 1 billion years, and as I tried to catch my breath after it was all over, I fell to the ground gasping for air. IT was so awesome, my love, haha. I love a good challenge, and I think it is safe to say I'm not a normal person. 1 billion passed between us, and I couldn't move, breathe, or interact with the world, but 1 billion years in their world was only a blink of an eye's time in ours. And when that 1 billion years time merged with our split-second moment, it caused me to come back to your world. It was so bizarre. I don't know what Mr. W was trying to show me that day, but that was the first time I realized time was either irrelevant or didn't exist in the spiritual realm. The time it takes to blink your eye or sit still or wait for 1 billion years to pass was exactly the same time in that world. I guess that is what he wanted to show me. Because we did talk about death before he passed away, but we didn't talk about anything like what he's shown me about the absence and abundance of time in a place that is not a place. Later on, I went to my mother and told her a little lie. I said that I had a dream about Mr. W, and in my dream he looked so strong and happy. I was wondering if I should go and tell his wife that maybe he visited me in my dreams to let her know he was okay. My mother said she will talk to her and thanked me for letting her know what I dreamed. She thought Mrs. W would be happy to hear what I dreamed about. My next short story occurred just before I graduated from high school. It was my senior year, and I'd been through so much stress. From battling supernatural entities that tried to choke me to death until I started laughing and grabbed onto these malicious spirits so I could make them my pet and hold on to them forever in my arms, to physical threats from a person that pointed a gun to my head where I responded, "Shoot me please," and then I laughed, "But you better not miss." Yes, my love, I snapped and lost all fear of everything. If I were to see a tornado come my way, I would pick up my magical staff and run towards it to beat it up. I became a version of Wednesday Addams from the Netflix series I love so much. I think it's important to share with you my incredible love and light I freely give to people I care for so much, but I want people to know that my love is not a weakness. It is a strength far greater than my dark soul you should run away from if you ever meet her. Well, my love, I'm breaking down this chapter in segments because of all the bizarre stories I want to share with you. Hope you like the juicy gossip stories I'm telling you that I can't wait to finish. Sorry my life is so complicated and strange, but when you are friends with a witch, weird stuff happens, haha. Love you, and see you soon, my dear.